Hello, everybody. This is Joe Sins from Elvis Photos. I wanted to share some more of the documentary I'm putting together. And some of y'all don't like the voiceovers, and some do. And I definitely respect that. I'm taking it into consideration. Um, but there's only so much I can do per day, talking wise, because I'm a singer as well, and plus I'm a manager, and so I have to attend meetings and deliver sales numbers and talk to my staff and all that stuff. But I hope you enjoy this. This is a piece on Love Me Tender, Elvis's first movie, and I'm going to be doing one on every single one of them. Some uh, maybe lesser known stories from the movie, um, whatever movie it is. The next one after this is going to be Loving You, and we're going to go all the way through to his final one. I believe it was Change of Habit was his final actual moving picture. That wasn't a documentary. That you enjoy this, that you share it, that maybe you learn something new, or you just touch base on something you've already known about. TCB TLC, this is Joe Sins, Rarest Photos.
In August of 1956, Elvis Presley stepped on a Hollywood film set for the very first time. The film was originally called The Reno Brothers, a Civil War-era Western drama. But after the release of his single, Love Me Tender, which soared up the charts before the movie even premiered, executives saw the buzz and changed the film's title to match the hit. Just 21 years old, Elvis was already a music sensation. But on that set, he was the new kid, eager, nervous, and determined to prove himself in a brand new arena. Though new to acting, Elvis took his role seriously. He memorized every line, often rehearsing late into the night. He even asked castmates for tips on camera angles and facial expressions. One of the more experienced actors on set once told a reporter that Elvis was like a sponge, always asking questions and listening intently. He didn't show up acting like a star. He showed up ready to earn the respect of the film world. Elvis had no ego about it. He simply wanted to do a good job, make his mama proud, and not let anyone down. Every day he arrived early, often before the director. He'd sit quietly with his guitar in hand, strumming chords while flipping through his script. One day during lunch, a cameraman noticed Elvis sitting alone and offered him a sandwich. Elvis smiled and said, "No, sir, but thank you. I've got some of Mama's fried chicken in my trailer." Sure enough, his mother Gladys had shipped him a care package from Memphis. He invited the cameraman to join him, and the two sat under a shade tree, sharing stories and cold, sweet tea. That was Elvis, generous, grounded, and always thinking of home. Mother Gladys was never far from his mind during one stretch of filming. She flew out to visit, and Elvis lit up the moment she stepped on set. He introduced her to everyone, from the director down to the costume lady. Elvis had the production staff set up a folding chair for her behind the camera so she could watch her boy work. She reportedly cried during his death scene. And afterward, Elvis comforted her, putting his arm around her and joking, "Don't worry, Mama. I'll be back in the next one." That bond between mother and son was unshakable and known by everyone around him. Elvis had originally been cast in a non-singing role, but his popularity shifted the plan after Love Me Tender. Broke sales records before the film even hit theaters. Studio executives scrambled to add musical numbers into the script. They rearranged scenes and even reshot parts of the ending. Elvis, however, was worried this would take away from the dramatic story. "I don't want to stick out like a sore thumb," he said. But in the end, he trusted the studio and delivered performances that added heart and soul to the film without overwhelming it. At night, Elvis stayed at the Knickerbocker Hotel in Hollywood. Though surrounded by palm trees and movie stars, he often felt lonely. He missed Memphis, his friends, and simple things like late-night rides or playing football in a dirt lot to help ease the homesickness. He invited his close friend Red West and a few other members of his Memphis crew to join him in California. They played music in the hotel room, goofed off in the hallways, and even got a noise complaint or two. But those familiar faces gave Elvis comfort and kept him grounded in a world that could have easily swept him away. During filming breaks, Elvis would pull out his guitar and sing backstage. Sometimes it was blues, other times it was gospel. One day a makeup artist told him she'd had a hard morning and asked if he'd play something soft. Without hesitation, he sat down and played Peace in the Valley. Crew members stopped what they were doing and a quiet reverence filled the space. He wasn't performing to impress. He was simply sharing something beautiful. It was moments like those that reminded everyone why Elvis was more than a star. He had a spiritual warmth that touched people deeply. His co-star, Deborah, was already an experienced actress and carried herself with elegance. Elvis was deeply respectful toward her. Though he later admitted to having a crush, he never crossed the line. During one take, Deborah flubbed a line and started laughing nervously. Elvis leaned in and whispered, "Happens to the best of us," then gave her a little wink. The two developed a warm on-screen chemistry, and their scenes together had a gentle tenderness that audiences loved. Years later, she would say Elvis was a gentleman, sweet, shy, and full of Southern charm. The success of Love Me Tender was staggering. Fans flocked to theaters not just for the movie, but to see Elvis on the big screen. Studio heads realized they had something rare, a musician who could also act, who drew crowds with more than just his voice. Elvis saw it as a blessing but stayed humble. He told a friend, "I ain't no actor, but I'll give it everything I've got." And he did. His performance was heartfelt. And even though he died in the film, his legend in Hollywood was just beginning. Love Me Tender wasn't just Elvis's first film. It was a turning point. It showed the world a different side of him. The dedicated worker, the respectful artist, the humble Southern boy who hadn't forgotten where he came from. He didn't use the movie to show off, he used it to grow. And through it all, through the lights, the cameras, and the studio pressure, he stayed true to himself. That's why Elvis Presley wasn't just loved, he was beloved. And Love Me Tender was the beginning of a legacy that would outlive us all.
Well, what did you think? Was any of those anecdotes that maybe you hadn't heard before? Maybe the young girl that had a hard day and he sat there and sang her piece in the valley. That's something I hadn't heard. I love things like that, and that's what I try to bring to y'all. Let me know what you think in the comments, and share this around if you would. TCB TLC. This is Joe Sins, Rare Elvis Photos. Hope you have a wonderful day, wonderful weekend. Yes, I am going to be reading some more of Elvis in June, as well as Child Bride and Good Rockin' Tonight, and and all the other books that we've started. Um, yeah. All right. So much thanks for y'all. TCB.